Ancient book excluded from the Bible sparks new theory about fallen angels beneath Antarctica. What if an ancient book rejected from the Bible described a prison hidden beneath Antarctica thousands of years before modern science discovered mountains buried under miles of ice? Now people believe the Book of Enoch, NASA's unexplained Antarctic signals, and a mysterious underground world could all be connected. Is this an incredible coincidence or a forgotten secret? Let's uncover the evidence of this story in our AI video explainer.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating intersection of an ancient text and modern geography. We're looking at a viral internet theory that connects a dusty, mysterious religious manuscript with the most unforgiving frozen continent on Earth, Antarctica. It's a story involving ancient giants, cutting-edge radar, and it's a mystery that has absolutely captivated social media. So, this brings us to the core question driving today's explainer. Is a mythical prison actually buried beneath the Antarctic ice? Now, I know it sounds like the plot of a sci-fi movie, but across YouTube and TikTok, millions of people are asking this exact question. Understanding how a massive sheet of ice became the center of a biblical mystery is a perfect way for us to explore how modern digital myths are born. And to do that, well, we have to start at the very beginning. Section 1. The Ancient Clues. To solve this modern mystery, our investigation actually has to rewind a few thousand years to look at a remarkably enigmatic piece of literature. This is our foundational source text, the Book of Enoch, or 1 Enoch. It's an ancient Jewish religious manuscript that's traditionally attributed to the great-grandfather of Noah. But unlike the standard Bible you might be familiar with, this text goes way, way beyond the usual Sunday school stories. It dives into extraordinary detail about the origins of evil, mystical realms, and demonic forces. It basically survives today, mostly through ancient Ge'ez manuscripts from Ethiopia, along with some Aramaic fragments found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, and a few Greek translations. Now, you might be wondering, if it's got all these wild details, why isn't it in most modern Bibles? Well, during the formation of the Bible, historians estimate that over 70 ancient Jewish and Christian writings were widely circulated. However, only 66 books ultimately made it into the standard Protestant canon. The Book of Enoch was largely excluded by most traditions, remaining fully canonized today only within the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church. But as you'll see, its exclusion definitely hasn't stopped its incredible stories from surviving. The most famous narrative in Enoch is the fall of the Watchers. According to the text, a group of 200 angels, the Watchers, abandoned their divine duties and came down to earth. They took human wives and fathered massive, violent beings called the Nephilim. Worse, these fallen angels shared forbidden, highly destructive knowledge with humanity, teaching everything from warfare and metallurgy to sorcery. As the giants basically consumed Earth's resources and violence exploded, God intervened. The giants were wiped out in the Great Flood, and the rebellious Watchers were imprisoned until Judgment Day. The text describes their prison, which is often associated with Tartarus, using some incredibly specific and bizarre geographical features. It mentions sealed chambers, icy regions, great mountains, utter darkness, burning landscapes, and a location situated at the ends of the earth. For centuries, ancient readers and theologians interpreted these descriptions symbolically, as a vision of a supernatural realm. But today's modern internet detectives, they are taking these geographical clues quite literally.
Part 2. The evidence in the ice. It is so fascinating to see how these ancient, seemingly mystical descriptions are being mapped directly onto modern geographic discoveries. Let's look at the 4 major clues that theorists claim point straight to Antarctica.
Clue number 1 is the location. First, Enoch describes a journey to the end of heaven and earth. Modern theorists connect this directly to Earth's southernmost point, East Antarctica. It literally is the most remote, extreme environment on the planet. For someone reading the text literally, Antarctica perfectly embodies the ends of the Earth. Let's move to clue 2 and see how this builds our geographical profile. Enoch explicitly describes mysterious storehouses and chambers containing snow, frost, and cold. When we look at Antarctica today, we find vast underground ice formations and hundreds of subglacial lakes, the most famous, of course, being the enormous Lake Vostok hidden deep beneath the surface. To believers, these real-world subglacial lakes sound exactly like those ancient chambers of frost. Just to put this magnitude in perspective, the Antarctic ice sheet stores a staggering 70% of our entire planet's fresh water beneath miles of ice. 70%. If you are looking for a global storehouse of cold and snow as described in those ancient texts, there's physically no larger candidate on Earth than Antarctica. Okay, clue number 3 is arguably the most visually compelling piece of this puzzle. Enoch's text mentions 7 great mountains surrounding the supernatural prison. Beneath Antarctica, geologists have actually discovered the Gamburtsev subglacial mountains. We're talking about an enormous mountain range, comparable in size to the European Alps, but completely buried under up to 2 miles of solid ice. To understand why this discovery really fueled the internet fires, we have to look at the timing. These mountains formed about 500 million years ago, but they were completely hidden from humanity until between 2007 and 2009. That's when an international expedition finally maps them using airborne radar and advanced geophysical instruments. In 2014, a study confirmed these mountains are remarkably preserved beneath the ice. For conspiracy theorists, the idea that cutting-edge radars suddenly revealed giant hidden mountains seemed perfectly aligned with Enoch's ancient descriptions. And finally, clue 4 brings us from ancient biblical monsters straight into high-tech science. In the Book of Enoch, there are descriptions of mysterious voices emerging from the abyss. Fast forward thousands of years, and NASA's Antarctic Impulsive Transient Antenna, or ANITA experiment, which is basically a balloon floating high above the ice, actually detected highly unusual radio signals. And these signals appear to be originating from below the Antarctic ice, rather than from the sky above. The first unusual reading from below the ice hit the radar in 2006. A second anomalous signal was recorded in 2014. As we look ahead to 2026 and beyond, scientists are still actively debating the explanations, looking at everything from unusual cosmic ray interactions to totally unknown particle physics. Because conventional models haven't fully cracked this puzzle yet, internet theorists rush to fill the gap, claiming these signals are the ancient voices of the imprisoned watchers. Section 3, What Mainstream Experts Say. Let's dive in and look at how biblical historians and Antarctic scientists actually interpret this convergence of data. Because when we step back from social media for a second, a very different picture emerges. When we systematically evaluate the evidence, the mainstream consensus is crystal clear. The phrase, ends of the earth, scholars note this is extremely common symbolic language in ancient literature, representing a spiritual realm, not a literal GPS coordinate. The amazingly preserved Gamburtsev Mountains. Geologists confirm their preservation is entirely due to the protective layer of ice over millions of years, requiring absolutely no supernatural explanation. And those anomalous NASA signals, scientists state they are the result of natural physical processes or instrument uncertainties, with zero link to ancient entities or the Book of Enoch. Section 4, The Power of Myth. So, if the science and history so firmly refute it, why did this theory go so incredibly viral? It really comes down to the undeniable power of myth. We have dusty Aramaic scrolls on one side and modern unexplained radar anomalies on the other. When you put them together, our brains naturally want to connect the dots to form a grand, thrilling narrative. Despite the fascinating parallels and deeply compelling internet videos, the definitive reality is this. There is currently no historical, archaeological, biblical, or scientific evidence demonstrating that the Book of Enoch describes a literal prison beneath Antarctica. The text portrays a supernatural vision, not an earthly location on our modern map. But the sheer persistence of this theory leaves us with a much deeper question to ponder. Why is humanity so irresistibly drawn to the unknown edges of our map? Whether it's looking up at the stars or drilling down into miles of solid ice, we possess an enduring, almost magnetic love for ancient mysteries and modern exploration. Even when science gives us the physical answers, our imaginations will always seek the extraordinary. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the world around you.
Okay, one question for you. If ancient texts like the Book of Enoch describe locations with ice, mountains, and sealed chambers, do you think these are simply poetic descriptions? Or could they be referring to places that ancient civilization somehow knew about thousands of years ago? Don't forget to comment it. Thanks.